Hey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's good. We've got 5 people here. It's really nice. Hello. My name is Mike Mays, and I work at Illuminations as a deep energy healer.
And I'm Sandy Mays, and I work at Illuminations as a psychic and clairvoyant medium. So welcome to our webinar. And we're going to be looking at what is deep energy spiritual healing? What is psychic reading? And what happens when they are combined and given as a treatment? So during this webinar, we will be answering those 2 questions, but we'll also be answering another question. Who can do deep energy spiritual healing and psychic reading?
We'll be stopping from time to time to allow you to ask questions. It's really important that you do play your part in this webinar. If you are to get the most out of it and the benefit from it, it's really good that you can participate with us and ask questions. That'd be really good.
So don't be shy. Remember, a question asked and answered is an opportunity for everyone to learn. So let's have a look at deep energy spiritual healing. How did it start and how does it work? Well, for millions of years, traditional cultures have defined the human body as a holistic energy system with the innate ability to self-heal. It's only now that modern science is catching up by uncovering scientific evidence that supports these ancient concepts, which were destined to be put in the history bin, but are now being resurrected. Before the advent of quantum physics and its understanding of energy fields, heralded by the emergence of scientists like Albert Einstein, Western thinkers for centuries adopted the Newtonian mechanistic view that the human body is like a biological machine whose parts perform their work independently of each other, as if we were like cars.
Obviously, nowadays, the mechanistic view is obsolete. We owe our present enlightenment to Albert Einstein, who shattered the idea that this world is just one big clock ticking away. He was able to prove that even gravity, which keeps our feet on the ground, is just an energy field. In fact, all matters, including our human bodies, are made of atoms. And guess what? Atoms are nothing more than a whole set of interacting fields of energy.
So let's have a look at how this deep energy spiritual healing works, based on scientific facts and based on how we are constructed as human beings.
So I'm going to put something up on the screen to share with you now. So if you give us just 1 second, I have to go to that one first, and then I have to go out. I know it's not allowing me to do it, but there you go. Just have a look.
Just bear with us for a minute.
Let's try something else. Ah, there we go.
Okay.
There you go.
So this drawing
as it is,
represents a human being. And the arrows, the blue arrows, are indicating the input from our physical senses. So what we see with our eyes, what we hear with our ears, what we feel with our whole skin, but we've illustrated here with just the fingertips because that tends to be what we feel with most, what we smell through our noses, and what we taste through our mouths. So those are the 5 principal senses. They are our sat-nav of life, if you like. So our human body, that which we see in the mirror when we look at ourselves, that's just a vehicle that carries our energy field or our spirit through this lifetime. So those senses keep us safe. So just as a sideline, obviously it's a good idea to use them properly because they're there to give us our physical experience of this world. But sometimes we see things and hear things that we don't like, and that can have a negative effect on us, but we'll get back to that in a minute. So if we could just have the next slide up, that would be good.
Okay.
There's that one. So there's the list of senses: the sight, the hearing, the touch, the smell, the taste. And if all those are working properly, that gives us our intuition or our gut feeling. You know that feeling when you just know? Always trust your intuition, your gut feeling.
It's the most important now.
Yes, it is. Okay, so there's your senses. They actually, that's the physical side of things, which is what was visible to us. So let's have a look at something else. Okay. So
strange creature.
Here we have some, they look like coloured flowers, but actually those are the chakras. And there are 7 major ones running from the crown all the way down to the base of the spine, which is the base chakra. And each chakra is attached to the nervous system of the body, as are all the senses. So the chakras are responsible for what comes into our energy field and how that's transmitted into our physical body. And that's through our nervous system, because it goes into the nervous system, into the spinal column, the spinal nerve system, up to the brain, and gives us an impression. So the senses do that as well. So all of these things are showing how our integrated system works. So I expect you've heard the expression mind, body, and spirit. Well, this is how it's all put together. So the mind, the brain, is integrated with the body through the nervous system, and the chakras and the energy system are linked into the nervous system as well. So we have this overall holistic effect, mind, body, and spirit. But it's our nervous system, our chakras are all connected to our energy field. Now, our experience with people in Dubai is they tend to know about energy fields and chakras. But just in case you don't, is there anyone here who isn't aware they have an energy field or doesn't understand what I'm talking about here? So just unmute and just ask the question if you want to. So yeah, we are sitting with the informed. So energy healing works on the energy field, but the energy field is affected by our nervous system, our chakras, everything that happens to us. So any information received through our senses, any information received through our chakras and our energy system has an effect. And all of these things should work in a balanced, synchronized way. But the effects of the modern world in which we live tend to batter us a bit. They have an impact. They put things out of sync, out of balance. So I think if they haven't got any questions about this, we'll move on from that. No, I think we can go back to the screen. That's it.
Okay.
Get rid of that one. So this is what deep energy spiritual healing works on. It works on this whole system of the senses, the chakras, the energy system as a whole, the nervous system, and all of those contributing to how we feel, whether we feel balanced or unbalanced, positive or negative. And obviously the modern world plays havoc with us, and we get imbalances, we get out of sync, we don't feel so good, we feel drained or whatever it is. And the healing is going to help that. Now, I'm going to stop there because I've just thrown a lot of information at you. And as Mike said at the beginning, in order that you all get the most out of this, we really do welcome questions. So if you want from any angle on what we've been speaking about.
So if you want to put your cameras on or you don't, but if you want to unmute yourselves, if you've got a question, then please do ask.
So please don't be shy about this, because the success of the webinar for each and every one of you is determined by your understanding, your comprehension of what we're talking about. And we're going to build this knowledge gradually through the webinar. So we really want to make sure that you are you're comfortable with what we're saying and that you understand it all. So, any questions?
Well, so far, I think they're all asleep.
Well, you can't tell because you can't
well,
see them.
You know, it's 8 o'clock or 8:15 in their time, so maybe it's been a hard day.
Okay, so if everybody's happy at this stage, we'll move on. All right.
So energy healing works to repair and rebalance the chakras and the energy system, as we've said, following the damage and the blockages caused by everyday life. Again, everything that happens to us in life, it causes so much damage to our energy field and our chakra systems. That's why we have to repair it. That's why we have to balance it. That's why we have energy healing at the end of the day. The deep energy spiritual healing does this, but in a more targeted and precise way. We're going to go into that. So using deep meditative techniques, okay, this is how I do it. I go into a deep meditative state. In fact, the delta state, the delta levels, if you've heard of that, there are about 4 main brainwave states, if you like. But I go into the deepest state, the delta state. So the delta level of the brainwaves, and I'll put my consciousness to one side because I don't want interference from the thoughts or the consciousness or what's going on around me. Everyday life, I don't want that. So I'm down into this deep state, if you like. I connect and access the spirit realms, so basically spirit, and allow the spirit world to send in the appropriate specialist healers to work on my client's energy field in an appropriate way for the damage and the imbalances contained there. So, for example, you know, if somebody comes to me and they've got a bad shoulder, bad back, or whatever it is, or other problems in their area, and again, it could be mental, physical, or emotional problems, whatever it is. The spirit realm, when I'm in that state, are going to allow and bring forward the relative person that can help with that particular ailment that this person's got. It's no point in them just bringing anyone through because there are certain people that can do certain jobs a lot better. A bit like our doctors, you know, a doctor can do a different job to a dentist. You know, so you wouldn't go to a dentist if you had a sore toe, you know.
I like your one about they wouldn't send a gynecologist expert for somebody with a back problem.
No, so
that probably sums it up.
So it's relative to what it is. So that's what they do, repair that. So I'm a conduit, if you like, for those energies. So I merely facilitate the process. Okay.
Okay. So again, that's quite a statement that Mike's just made. And again, we want to make sure that everybody's comfortable with this, or if that's triggered any questions in you. So once again, if you would like to ask questions.
What's the difference between energy healing and astral projection? There's a different one, huh?
No, there's none, isn't it, really?
Right, oh, hang on, let's get rid of that one. Oh, hang on. Lost you all again. Where am I? Where are you? I've lost you. Oh, I've lost everyone. There you go. How does it work? What is the difference? To be honest, I'm not really sure. Astral projection, I believe you go into astral plane. That's what you're talking about. You go off into someone else. I'm not aware of that because I'm not aware of any consciousness or anything else. I'm not aware realistically of where I'm going because I'm in this deep meditative state. So for me, it's more just about a spirit world doing the job, if you like. It's the spirit world that does it, not me.
So they take the action, don't they?
Absolutely. So.
And you're only asking them to come in on this. You are communicating with them, aren't you?
That's right.
So and they are communicating with you.
Yeah.
So.
But it's not
I'm a bit like you. I'm not quite sure of the ins and outs of astral projection, but my vague understanding of it tells me that it's nothing to do with deep energy, spiritual healing, because we are dealing with the spirit world. We are dealing with the universal spirit. So does that answer your question? Was it, I don't know how you pronounce your name. Is it Lamia?
Yeah, they will give me, obviously, and we're going to how they give me certain things after a while. The spiritual world is super interesting. Thank you. Yeah. But when I'm in that state, obviously, I'm just a conduit. So it's almost like I'm matching the spirit world, if you like. So they use me just as a conduit to do the healing. So I'm not aware of going anywhere else other than that, because I don't want to be aware. Because once I start thinking and saying, oh, this is nice in the astral plane or wherever I'm going, I'm not actually the conduit properly. I'm not doing the job. So if you can imagine us being allowing spirit to come through is one thing, but allowing them to be completely within your space, if you like, and doing the work through you is something else. And that's how this works, because I'm in that state. So hopefully that works for you.
So, okay. Any other questions from our audience? Because I've got a question from a previous session, but has anybody else here got a question? No, we're all good. Okay, well, one of the questions Mike was asked once was, aren't you afraid you will let in negative forces when you remove your consciousness and allow the spirit world in? So
the answer to that one is no, that doesn't happen for lots and lots of reasons. One of them is there is law and order in the spirit world, and they will not be allowed to come and interfere with this process. Secondly, I do this with integrity and a good intent. So it's not, I don't muck around with it, if you like. I'm not using it as some sort of comedian's tool, if you like. So I do it with the right intent to help people. That's a good question. I always wondered the same thing.
So it's triggered something.
And also trust. And the two words, intent and trust, are huge, even though they're tiny little words, they're huge. But I do it with the right integrity, and I trust, absolutely trust the spirit world to guide me and to help me. So I know they're not going to help me. If they do, if this ever happens, I will have a word with the spirit world and say, excuse me, if you do this again, I will not be your voice. I will not be the healer you want me to be. And they're not going to do that because, you know, they just so want to help. So it's not going to happen realistically. Thanks for the question. So,
I mean, that actually applies to anybody who works with spirit. You are automatically assigned a doorkeeper to protect you when you're working in that area, when you are opening yourself up to that. And we're going to sort of move on now to, what is psychic healing? Because we're talking here about combining deep energy spiritual healing with psychic reading. And so Mike's done quite a little bit now about the deep energy spiritual healing. And just remember that your energy field is your spirit. And I'm going to be talking a bit more about that in a moment. But so what is psychic reading and how does it work? So I have a question for all of you. If you're prepared to help me here, what do you feel that psychic reading is? What does it mean to you?
Let's hear your voice.
Hear your voice, or put it in the chat box. I'd be grateful for any input, any questions on this. What do you think it is?
I think psychic healing is definitely, of course, like communicating with the other world. And I think that, like, for people that have passed on, I don't think they just die and that's it. I think they go to like a different level of a different realm, let me say. And I think for us people that come to healers and ask questions, the people on the other side are able to answer and guide us through that. So I think that's what like psychic reading would be.
You've actually summed up what Mike does, that side of it, but the way he gets the information from them, which he'll go into a bit more in a minute, but the way he gets it is psychically. So this takes this into my area, which is the mediumship and the psychic and clairvoyant side of this. But Mike's only working psychically when he's doing this deep energy work. So if we could just have the keyboard up, I'm just going to explain to you how all this works. And we have something called the keyboard of mediumship, which just explains how the energy works. So here we go. So the one in the middle, rather strange looking creature, is, let's say that's me, that's the medium, or let's say that's Mike. That's Mike. And his energy field fastened to his physical body by the 7 chakras. On the right-hand side, No, it's that one. I want that one, please. He is communicating with spirit, because that's spirit energy on the right. So let's get something straight right away about what is a spirit person. Some people call them ghosts. There's all kinds of names for them, but they are people. They are spirit people. And one day we will be like that. And what it is when our time to leave this planet comes, our chakras will release our energy field. Our physical body will die, but our energy field will return to the spirit world, as is illustrated on the right there. But when we go back there, we will have the same characteristics, memories, emotions, experiences contained in that energy field. So when Mike works with spirit people, spirit specialists, they are coming in and blending with his energy in order to, his consciousness is put to one side, remember? So for them to then go across his energy, across the blend between his energy and the client, and into the energy of the client. So that spirit energy has now made that journey across him as the conduit. It's in that energy field on the left, the client's energy field. And in that, the spirit world will find where the imbalances are, where the damage has been done, whatever it is, they're going to get in there and they're going to do some repair work. And that's fine, because we know that the client is going to feel better. But as that spirit energy returns through Mike's and returns to the spirit world, they psychically inform him of what they've been doing. So let's just say that the client on the left had a big imbalance in their throat chakra, that one there. Now, each chakra has two jobs. One is physical and one is energetic. So the energetic job of the throat chakra is to try to ensure that that person is fully expressing their feelings, not their opinions, their feelings. And when the person is not doing that, a blockage occurs in that chakra. And the chakra will put all its energy into trying to get the flow going again, because when that energy doesn't flow, it stagnates and it sits in our energy field as a negative mass. So the chakra is going to put all its effort into moving that on and getting things back to normal. As a result of that, it will, and this is just a sort of a side comment, it will neglect its physical job, which is looking after ears, nose, throat, mouth, thyroid, sinuses. All of those things are looked after by that chakra as well. But if it's focusing on the blockage caused by lack of self-expression, it will neglect the physical side. And very often people with a blockage there will experience weaknesses in the areas I described: ears, nose, throat, mouth, teeth, thyroid, sinuses. And it's right down to things like people not being able to speak properly or hear properly. And it's very often linked in to a blockage in that chakra. So let's say that that's what they sent in the specialist to do that. So as that specialist spirit moves back through Mike's energy, psychically, they will inform him of what work has been done. So clearing that chakra, but they will also give him information about what that particular client needs to do to avoid that happening again. Because they'll know what they haven't expressed. They will know why they haven't expressed it. So Mike is given that information through the energy blend as the spirit is blending with his energy. So psychically, across that blend, he becomes aware, because that information goes into his chakras, into his nervous system, up to his brain. And he picks up the necessary information to relay to his client. So the client knows what's been done, but also, very importantly, knows what to do in the future to avoid this happening again, or to make it happen less, perhaps. So that's where this psychic reading comes into this healing process. So just to sort of clarify a little bit more here, in terms of day-to-day life, we are all reading psychically at a subconscious level all the time. So I'm sure you know that feeling when you first meet someone. You get a sudden feeling and knowing, like, I really like this person, I'm really comfortable with them, or, oh, how quickly can I get away from this person? That happens because your energy is blending with the energy of the other person. On that blend of energy, there's an exchange of information, and you become aware of how this other person makes you feel. Now, you don't do that consciously, it just happens. But this is how it's happening. So this is the true meaning of psychic reading. It is when information is passed across energy to another person. It is that blend of energy there. But while I'm on the subject, and sometimes some people have to stop me talking if I talk too much about this, but I want to clarify the difference between psychic and clairvoyant, because there's often confusion there. So clairvoyant mediumistic reading is when a spirit person combines their energy with me as the medium and gives me information about themselves so that I can pass that information on to my client until my client says, I know who that is. So there's no good me saying, oh, I've got your father here and he says whatever he says. You need to know it's your father. So it would be your father's job to give me the correct information about himself so that you were able to say that. So that's mediumistic reading. It is not the same as psychic. So psychic tends to be mind to mind, and that's what's happening when the spirit energy comes back through Mike's energy. So it's a big subject. It's one that everybody can do. It is what we actually teach in our mediumship courses at Illuminations. But going back to this spiritual healing, the deep energy spiritual healing, it is the healing of the energy field, of everybody's energy field who comes for healing. And everybody needs it. We're no exception. We need it. Life damages all of us. We all need to be healed. And sometimes we learn to heal ourselves. So I do Reiki, so I've been taught how to heal myself. It is very easy to learn how to do it. But it's very, very important that you're aware of this and that you keep your energy in good working order, shall we say.
Right.
Right. So
very well now. That's myself.
Oh.
That's really good. It is right. It's all about.
So once again, time for questions from our audience, our lovely audience that we can't see, actually. I'm sure you are all lovely. But questions on what I've just been talking about.
I have a strange question, and I think it's just more out of curiosity because
that's fine.
I'm such a deep thinker, you know, and I'm sure you can both relate to that, obviously. So my question is, like, the spiritual people or the spiritual guides in the spiritual world that come through and give you messages and help you, are they like, would they just be like, would they be, how do I phrase this in a PC way? Would they be just like one religion? Would they be super religious people? Would they not be? Would they be different races? Would they not be? Like, how does that work?
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Which bit do you want to do? All right. Now, let's start by saying one thing here. In the spirit world, there is no religion.
Okay.
Religions are man-made. Mm-hmm. It is for the convenience of this planet that there are religions. Okay. In the spirit world, it is just everybody is the same. There are no races, no cultures like that. When we go back there, we lose anything like that we gathered in this world. We don't lose the experiences of what happened to us, but we lose cultural attachments. Does that make sense?
So the spirit person has all the memories and experiences of everything that they've had on the earth plane here, and as we believe, maybe past, maybe again. So all that's there still, but it's just energy, but it's still there. And like Sandy said, there's no judgments, no no nastiness, no religion, because all that comes from the earth.
That sounds like a beautiful world to live in.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I mean, it's a bit like time. If you look at time,
Yeah.
time's man-made. It's not linear. So time, for example, we look at this moment in time here, it's really lovely sunshine. So we call it the day.
Yeah.
Who said it's called day? Somebody decided it would be called day and the darkness would be called night. It might work the other way. We made this. So they don't have to be.
So they have no time, they have no space, and it is a very merciful place, and it's very considerate. So when our energy returns there, let's say we've had a difficult passing, a difficult death. Perhaps it was maybe in these days, maybe it was COVID, or more normally maybe it's cancer, whatever it is, but the energy field is damaged. So when that energy field returns to the spirit world, there are spirit healers there who will repair it.
Oh, that's beautiful. I never knew that. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Well, actually, we can give you the name of a book to read if you want to know what life in the spirit world is like. It's called Journey of Souls.
Journey of Souls. And who's the author?
Michael Newton. And he is a hypnotherapist. He's passed on now. He was a hypnotherapist and he did regression. But instead of regressing people to past lives here on this planet, he found that his regression was going to their last time in the spirit world.
So they talked about the spirit world all the time, how it was like in the spirit world, where they were in the spirit world, everything. So it's all about the spirit world. It tells you what happens when people are really bad on the earth, killers, murderers, what happens to them, if you like, how they go back. Everything about you need to know about the spirit world is in this book. It is fantastic.
That is super interesting. I'll be on it like now on Amazon.
Yeah, well, you can actually often get them secondhand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a popular book, but you have a look, see if there's anything a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh, another question.
When you talked about liking someone you met and your energy meets together.
Meets together when you meet the. Oh, I can't see the rest of the question. Where's the rest of the question gone? Let's have a look. There it is.
Okay. Meets together when you meet a person multiple times and you don't like them anymore, or they turn out to be a bad person. Was the mending of the energy misread?
Well, we're not talking about healing in that. I was just giving you an example of psychic reading. This is everyday life psychic reading, when we just meet people in everyday life and our energy blends with theirs and we get this impression of them through the energy into the chakras, into the nervous system, up to the brain, as I described earlier. But if we put that to one side, because I wasn't really talking about the effects of healing there. I was just talking about the effects of our natural psychic reading abilities. But you're talking about if you meet the person multiple times and you don't like them anymore. But people change. We all change. So people say to me, how can you read people more than once? Well, I could read somebody today, do a full 1 hour reading on them. Fine. They come back to me in a week's time. I'd certainly want to know why they were coming back, because I believe that's too quick. But let's say they did. Their energy could be completely different because something else has happened to them, or perhaps they're displaying another side to them. So there are other things to read. So it's the same for you when you meet people, and perhaps the next time you meet them, it feels different. Maybe they've changed, or maybe you've changed and you're interacting with their energy differently. And this is often the basis of relationships failing, because two people get together and perhaps they decide to live together or get married, whatever it is, and it's all fine. And then as life progresses, they change and their energy changes, and perhaps it's not compatible anymore. So everything's changing all the time. So we just have to be super aware of everything, how we feel about everything. And this world we live in is too fast and too noisy. It's rather sort of desensitizing people. So is that all right?
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, and
we're getting good questions now.
Yeah,
I like this.
Just as a very quick sideline, we can photograph and measure our energy fields now electronically. This is quantum physics. There is a a special tool out there. It's a special camera called a Chilean camera, and it shows your energy fields, measures it, and shows you photographs of it. And what happens is some days you could go and have this done and your energy field is as it is, a certain colour. Another time you have it done and it might be vast and big and lots of colours and all completely different. And that's just because how you are at that particular time. If you've had healing, it'll be obviously a lot better than not. So anyway.
So any other questions?
All right, let me close that one. There we go.
Are we all happy?
We're all happy, I think.
Okay,
Yes.
so we'll carry on.
So what happens when we combine deep energy spiritual healing, which is what I do, with a psychic reading? Okay.
Which you also do.
Which I also do. And this is how all this works. So when I'm doing this, I am made aware of when the healing process is complete. So basically, I put myself into the delta state, do the healing on a person, allow the spirit to work through me for the healing. And then I'm aware. That's the only times, so I just want to clarify, the only times, because I'm not aware of my consciousness or conscious surroundings, the only times I'm aware of things is when the healing is being completed. And then I come back slowly, you see. So I'm coming back slowly. So then that makes me aware when it's completed. So when it's complete, I begin to come out of my deep meditative state and return to full consciousness. So, and I physically receive receive information about where the energies have been directed by the spirit specialists. So psychically, I get this when I come back. Well, okay, this is what's happened, and they worked on that area, and I'm aware of all the areas, because a bit of a contract that I have with them is when I come out of this state after doing the healing, I want to know where the energy's gone, where the healers have worked, how they've worked, and everything else, so that I can give it to the client, which is very important. So I'm made aware of what was achieved and what action, again, my client needs to take to support the healing on an ongoing basis. So with this particular one, it is an ongoing healing basis. It's not just having a little bit of healing now and then you walk out the door and something happens to you and you don't feel good anymore. This is about, once you know where the healing's gone and how it worked and what was happening to you, and when anything like this happens in the future, I want to give you the information, aware of it all, so that you can help yourselves. So it's ongoing. Does that make sense? So it's helping you to facilitate how you manage this healing in the future. So I'm also made aware of what's achieved, obviously, and what you need. And I pass this information, obviously, to the client so that they are empowered to maintain their own holistic health. And this is where it's very important, because you need to maintain your own health. I don't just want to say to you, okay, I'll fix your back if you like, it's great. And then you think, oh, this is wonderful, I feel much better now, I'll go outside. And then you decide to lift something a bit heavy later on, and then the back starts up again because you've done something wrong. Then, if you do that, I want you to be able to say to yourselves, I know what you said to me about that. I know how that works. I'll try and facilitate, I'll try and help myself heal myself again, and when you think about it that way, the healing process seems to carry on working. It just seems to know that you've accepted the energy field, you've accepted this healing, and it does seem to just keep going on perpetual motion. So that's really good. That's how that one works.
Okay. So we'll see if you've got any questions about that. We realise we're dealing with something quite complicated here, so it's important that we sort of clear things up with you as we go along. So, any questions? No chat box stuff. Yeah. Well, I've got one that somebody did ask, which was, in your experience, which chakra is often is out of balance most frequently? What do you find? For
me, probably the solar plexus and the throat. Throat chakra being the one that we said, communication problems. And it's not about talking, it's actually about expressing and telling your true feelings. Because a lot of us put up masks, or we say, oh, I better not say that, it might hurt somebody else and everything else. So what we're doing then is holding this emotion in. We don't want to hold it in, we want to get rid of it. So what we can do with this is we need to get it away from ourselves. So if we feel we can't say something to somebody, for example, what we could do is write down how we feel on a piece of paper. And what that actually does is, when you put it on a piece of paper, you're actually taking that emotion away from you. You're expressing yourself. So you're not just talking it out, you're actually putting it on a piece of paper. You're still taking it away from your throat chakra. So your throat chakra could then survive and carry on doing its normal job and working, but you put it on that piece of paper. You can look at that piece of paper as well and say, what you've got written down, can I do anything about it? No. Can I do something about it? Yes, I can. So I'll change that and do something about it. Then you can screw the piece of paper out and throw it in the bin. But don't forget to empty the bin at the end of the week, because that'll be full as well. You see what I mean? So, but that's how you can do it.
Yeah, that's a good way. What's the other one?
And solar plexus, that's usually anxiety, that sort of, a bit het up about things. You get headstrong really fat, and it affects the stomach area here. The solar plexus, and that's the sort of, we used to call them collie wobbles. I don't know what you call them. You get all wobbly in the stomach.
Well, you actually feel it sometimes.
You do, you feel it. I feel it, yes, in the stomach. And in a lot of cases when I'm doing this, all the chakras, they're allowing me to feel what chakra is and where it's going to. The chakras are wonderful, wonderful little spinning vortexes, if you like. And what they do is one spins one way, say from the crown that way, then the third eye that way, next way, and then so on and so on. So if you can imagine like cogs, because they're going a different way, if one slows down or speeds up, gets out of balance, it's going to affect every one of the others. So that's where we need to keep ourselves well balanced, if you like.
Okay, so let's go on to the last question, which we posed at the beginning of this. So who can do this? Who can do deep energy healing, psychic feedback? What do you think? So it's back to you.
Who can do it?
Ladies and maybe there's gentlemen. I can't tell from these names. No, I think they're all ladies, actually. I think. I don't know. Never mind. Whoever. Yes.
Who can do it?
Who do you think can do this? That's the correct answer, Lanya.
Anyone can do it.
Anybody can do it. You can all do this. We are all natural healers and we are all natural mediums. And there's nobody who can't be encouraged or have facilitated this ability so you can actually do it.
You've all got it.
You want to
fine-tune it, don't you?
Exactly. So it's within everybody. So
I hope and soul. Yeah, absolutely, yes. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Integrity, trust, it's all there. Just needs tuning.
Yeah. So anybody who wants to do this can do it. It's like anybody who wants to work as a medium or practice their mediumship, which is contained within them, can do it. And I have to say, I mean, we're probably on our 4th round of mediumship training courses at Illuminations, and we are really impressed with people in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. I mean, you just get on so quickly. They're so focused, so dedicated. They move at a speed which in the UK wouldn't happen. We take much longer with people. Well, maybe the UK people are not quite so driven as the Dubai people.
Guys, which is,
yeah. So, but it is. We have yet to find anyone who can't have this natural ability awakened in them, whether it's your mediumship or your healing. It's just there in you. And in fact, we are going to be running a course on deep energy healing with psychic reading. And it starts on the 31st of July. And it's a 6-week course and 6 90-minute sessions with a couple of one-to-ones in between a couple of weeks so that we can pick up on things which are specific to you, and an assessment at the end. And there will be a certificate at the end of that course. So I could just give you a sort of a sample of the curriculum. So you're going to get the history of healing, which is fascinating because it's so ancient, how it's evolved. And you're going to have in much more detail the interaction of the human energy field, chakras, nervous system, about the damages and the blockages, but certainly in much more detail than we've been able to do today. And in fact, that section takes two weeks. And then how to use the deep meditative levels and techniques, and also how to connect with and access the spirit realms. So that's sort of wavering into mediumship a bit, but it's you would be shown how to do it. And you'd be amazed at how quick it is. And when we had a student on the last advanced course, Lindsay, do you remember? She said, oh, I can't do that. We were asking her to do something. She said, I can't do it. I'll never be able to do that. And I said, okay, well, just try it on me now. Just do your best. She did it perfectly because she wanted to. That natural ability woke up in her and she just did it. And it's the same with the healing.
Okay,
so
Roshana, no, so thank you for the information. So I have to leave. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you.
Okay. So where are we with this? Yes, the deep meditative levels. So actually learning to go what we call up and down the levels of meditation, to go down to the deeper states. But we sort of train you to do it as if you were in an elevator. You're just pushing the button. I'm going down to the 4th floor. I'm coming up to the 2nd floor again. So you become so fluent at controlling those levels yourself. Yes, accessing the energy of the spirit realms. So actually recognizing it as it comes in, not being afraid of it, recognizing that you can control it if you need to, and that they are only there for the highest will and good of all concerned. So you learn all of that. And as Mike was saying, how he picks up the information about where the energy went, you would learn how to do that. And it really is. And I know it sounds complicated, but when you come to do it, it's really straightforward. And the reason it's really straightforward is because it's natural. This is just doing natural things. And our world is full of doing unnatural things a lot of the time. And this is going back to the basics and doing what comes naturally. Now, if you mix with any indigenous peoples like we have when we've worked in Australia on numerous occasions, the Aborigines there, they do all of this without even thinking about it. The ones that live naturally. They're aware of their ancestors around them at all time. They can communicate with them, receive information from them, communicate telepathically. They just do it. And they're amazed because people, when we're in Australia, they come to our classes to learn how to do it. And the Aborigines say, well, why don't you just do it? That's because people have to have it woken up in them. So I think that's probably, yeah, and how to educate your client or your friends on how to live their lives in a better way to avoid future damage. So that's the sort of the basis of the course. And 31st of July it starts. If you want any more information, you just go to Illuminations and they'll tell you.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Yes, and it's a certificate at the end.
Excellent. So let's look at a meditation. We talked about meditation levels. Who meditates? Put your hands up or something. Or anyone meditate here? You do. Or not?
Anybody? Have we got one?
You do.
Anyone else? Nobody else?
Oh, that's someone else there. Everyone should.
No, she says from her to everyone.
Oh, to everyone. Yes, sorry. So everyone should. 2
of you.
Good. Okay.
Okay. So the 2 of you that have said you do it, do you find it easy? Or do you find it difficult? No. Oh, yeah, we're going to get an answer there.
I think I find it easy, but sometimes I have a hard time just shutting my mind off. Because I suffer from anxiety also. So I'll try to quiet my mind and my thoughts, but sometimes it's just a little challenging. And sometimes even though meditation is going to make you feel better, you're not always in that headspace to be okay, let me meditate, So yeah, it depends, I guess.
Yeah, I think a lot of meditation is presented in too complicated a way. And there's different forms of meditation, and there's some of it is just so intense that by the time you've worked out what you're supposed to be doing, the whole thing's over. But the thing you described about your mind, that is common to everyone, because most of our minds are completely out of control. And the mind is a tool, it lives in a toolbox, but I'm afraid we, as human beings, we tend to let our minds rule us. So they're used to having their own way. So with meditation, you just have to gently train them that no, not now. Yeah, I'll get back to you. Like you say to somebody who rings you up and you haven't got time to talk to them, oh, look, do you mind? I'm busy at the moment. I'll call you back.
You never get done.
And you have to sort of say that to your mind in meditation. When a thought comes in, acknowledge it. Just let it go. Just say, I'll come back to that. And release it. We hold on to stuff. We try and work stuff out. We want to know answers. We want to sort it. sometimes we give ourselves a break from that and just say, okay, actually, we'll just go with it. It's fine. But you mentioned anxiety.
Yeah.
So, certainly studying this, the healing and getting involved with the deeper meditative states would go a long way to helping you with the anxiety, because you'd also gain a huge knowledge of how your whole system works, how anxiety is created, where your weaknesses are, what's creating the anxiety, which bits of you is doing it, what's the knock-on effect, how is one thing affecting another.
Absolutely, yeah, you're right.
The thing is with all this, physically, we have problems in the physical, but for most people, in most cases, the problems they have in the physical comes from the emotional or the mental state. If something's not right, I don't know, girlfriend or something, you've got fallen out with someone or whatever, so it's a mental or emotional state, if you like, it would automatically manifest within the physical, because that's where your body needs to know what's going on. So like you've got problems with your stomach, but that might be caused through anxiety, like you said, or some other problem that you've got with a family, say, or something like that. So it's going to come through to the physical to let you know there's something wrong. I
agree. And I think for me also, like, I'm an empath. So I feel like majority of the time, 95% of the things I tend to deal with are never ever my own problems. And because I'm so prone to like people's energy, like I could be walking in the mall and it's exhausting for me. Like what would be normal for someone is terribly, excruciatingly exhausting for me energy wise. And sometimes I'd have to just come home and sleep just to like rejuvenate. And my problem is I tend to absorb all the energy, but I don't know how to release it.
Right.
And I think that's what causes a lot of the anxiety also.
Yeah. Well, there's two aspects there. One is the reason that you're like you are is because you are what we call a sensitive, which means your energy field is very delicate.
Yeah.
It's like lace. It's very easily damaged. It's very easily bruised, very affected by things.
Yeah.
So the modern world is too much for you, really.
Too fast, too
way too much, way too much.
So one of the things you would learn on the course would be how to control your chakras, how to
stop
take action,
the energy from coming in and affecting you, and drawing your energy or sucking other people's in. So
absolutely.
Yes, I mean you I thought this about you when you started speaking, because I read vibration of voices. That's because I work on Zoom all the time now.
Oh wow.
I have to read the vibration of the voice, which is at the same level as the vibration of the energy field. So that's how I do my Zoom readings.
Wow.
If you could pick that up, just a deep sensitivity. And therefore you would do any of these things that we're talking about extremely easily. It would come naturally to you, and it would actually make you feel more, I don't like to use the word normal, but I'm going to use it, more normal in the modern world. You'll come to realize you're okay like you are. You're fine.
Yeah, I think we people like us and sensitives, and I'm sure the rest of you are as well, we're what we call normal. The rest are abnormal. So the shopping mall people are abnormal. Yeah. So that's the way to look at it.
But the thing is with sensitives, when we've learned to control our energy and the effect of the world on it, we can do an enormous amount to help other people cope with it as well. And that's, of course, that brings us back very neatly to healing, which is what this is all about. And the word heal
again online with the healing, because energy has no time, space or barriers. Even on Zoom or wherever I am, if I'm doing healing for someone the other side of the world, it doesn't make any difference. It's still, what I do is still exactly the same, and what you would do if you've learned is exactly the same, because it can go wherever it wants. As I'm just a conduit, and the spirit realm is passing through me, using me as that conduit to go where it needs to go. It's in a nanosecond, so it's exactly the same. And I can feel and sense and read, if you like, and psychically the person. They don't have to be in the same room. They can be anywhere in the world. It's exactly the same. So it's good. Go on, sorry.
No,
Healing
that's
means to make.
Yes, yes. The word heal
Means to
literally
make
means to make whole or make better.
So if you look at the word heal, H-E-A-L, looks pretty plain on its own, but you add a TH on the end of it, you get health.
Oh, wow.
You add a Y on the end of that, you get healthy.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yes, and actually, anything that makes somebody feel better is healing.
Yeah.
So it isn't necessarily the hands-on thing. It can be. Some people heal with words. Some people have a natural aptitude to say the right thing to comfort someone.
Whatever it is,
yeah,
you can just even if you put an arm around somebody like that, say, "Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You know, I'll be there for you." Whatever, it makes that person feel really lovely and feel worth. You know, and it's healing. You know? It's taken them away from what was causing their minds to be upset and their chakras to be upset. It's having a comfort, and that's what it is.
So you get the comfort, but also with the case of the deep energy spiritual healing, they get to get the information about what was causing it and how to prevent it again. So it's a real healing process because they can carry it with them. Anybody that gets it can carry it with them. So it's very powerful, and it's a very lovely thing to do. Anything that's healing is always guaranteed to make the person that's doing it feel better, because it's naturally like that.
And and do self-healing. And that's what, you know.
So if I'm feeling stressed or anything and I've got to do a reading, so I've got Illuminations have sent me an appointment, I've got to do a reading online. So it's 1 hour. So I might go into it feeling stressed, and I put that to one side because I have to work. When I come back out of the appointment, I finished the reading, I feel fine. It's that, as I hopefully healed my client, made them feel better, but it's also made me feel better, which is a real bonus.
Exactly. So when I'm going into that state and the spirit realm's passing through me, using me as a conduit, if they want to do healing for someone else, I'm going to get a little bit of this as well, because it's coming through me and it's going to make the client feel good. So we're both good. So it's fine. Yeah.
So just going back to this meditation, if anybody would like me to send them a very simple, basic foundation technique for meditation, I call it sitting and being, but we can call it meditation. I'm very happy to email it to you.
Minutes long.
Well, it's about 5 or 6. It's just an
an
MP3. So if anybody wants to leave their email address in the chat box, I will send that to them tomorrow so that you can have it at home and practice with it if you want to. Okay. If anybody would like that. So any last questions? Got back to quiet again. We've stunned them into silence. Okay, well, it's been our pleasure to be with you all. And we hope you've got something out of this and you now have a greater understanding of this subject, perhaps a curiosity about the subject. But
okay, I have a question.
Oh, a question. Excellent.
Grazia.
Is it Grazia? Yeah, go on, Grazia.
Unmute yourself.
Yeah, you need to untick. Can you do it?
Unmute. Sorry. Sorry, I muted you. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Did I say it right? Is it Grazia?
Grazia, yes.
Yeah.
Grazia.
Okay.
So, I have been having dreams in the past few years, and in the last few months became more frequent, of people who are passing away. I mean, I constantly dream people, maybe for 1 week, and then I found out that they pass away. What's the meaning of this?
Right. It's the spirit world that are giving you this, and what it's worked. They've got their own way, because of what it's done. It's drawn your attention to the fact that you can receive these bits of information. It doesn't mean you have to do anything with it. It's just drawn your attention to the fact that there's something going on out there that's a bit beyond your understanding. So you're given this information. This thing happens. It's all to do with spirituality, with mediumship, but it is the spirit world recognizing in you an ability that you could work with them in some way.
Because sometimes it happens also with people that I'm not really connected with. Are people that maybe I met just once in my life. So in the past it happened maybe with family relatives, so people I had some special connections. But recently it's happening also with people I don't have any type of connection with.
It's the same answer. They're just trying to get your attention. They do it in all kinds of ways. I mean, you're lucky. They're just doing that. I mean, some people, they sort of make noises in the house and move things in the house. They want your attention because they recognize in you a sensitivity, which means you could do some work for them.
Thank you so much.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and if you don't like this or don't,
yes, it does. It does.
Then sit quiet with them and talk in your mind and say to them, okay, I understand you're there. I understand, you know, you want me to work with this. I will look at this. I will do it, but I don't like you to do this, please, if that's what you want. Or just say, I will work with you. You got my attention. Thank you very much. You don't need to prove this anymore to me. Switch that off if that's what you want. Okay.
You might, Grazia, you might have a look at our Mediumship Foundation course, which is just the one that explains all of this and allows you to get an understanding of it and to practice it a tiny bit, just so that you know what's going on and that you can control it. And it'll also show you whether you want to do anything with it.
Yes, because at the beginning I couldn't realize what was happening, and I was a bit scared.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. But
there's no need to be scared.
No need to be scared. You won't be harmed. It's just a way of getting in touch with you. So look, hello, we're here. You can do this. Hang on a minute. You know, a lot of people walk away from it and they don't want to know. So they try a bit harder, and then after a while they give up. But with you, I think it's just the fact that you've got an ability, and you've got an ability as well. So yeah, but if you want to sit quiet and in your mind just say to the spirit world, anyone, just say to the universal energies in the spirit world, look, this is great. Thank you very much. I don't want any more of this, please, now, but I am listening to you. I am going to try to do something about it. I'll have a look at it all, and we'll see where we go. And you should be fine. It should stop.
Thank you very much.
It'll be our pleasure to help you if you decide to go that route.
Read the energy through Zoom.
Thank you.
Is it possible that you could from
you need to go in the
where?
Yeah, you need to go in the big version. There we are.
Possible you read from. Is it possible that you could form relationships or friendships from long distance online?
Yeah.
And is there any
absolutely
legitimate energy ending?
Yes, that's absolutely. Yeah, you can do anything you want with energy. Yep. Once you've got the understanding of it, you can form, because you feel the energy online, because you can hear the voice, a relationship can be formed. So some relationships are formed just by energy blending and each person recognizing their comfort in being with the other person. So that's how we got together. It was an energetic thing over one weekend working together. But it was the energy, it was nothing else at all. It was just a sort of a recognition of how comfortable we were. And it certainly, that would work online because of the voice vibration.
Yeah.
You pick up things about that person.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question? Okay, so, yeah.
Good.
Okay, right. So anybody else?
Yes, thank you so much. Good.
That's all right.
Okay.
Pleasure. All right, so if there's nothing more, well, thank you again for coming. And I think you're in a sort of a holiday time, aren't you? A lot of people on holiday in Dubai. So enjoy this. Is it a festival or something? Somebody said, wasn't it? I can't remember what they said. But enjoy it anyway. Yeah. Have a good time with it. Okay. And hopefully we will meet some of you or all of you at some point in the future. So good night.
Bye-bye.